And so she came to my house. She was basically forced me to let her inside. She was like, if you don't let me in, like I'm gonna knock on the door and your parents are gonna know, la la la. I'm gonna tell them everything. And at that moment, my parents were like super against me being with a female, you know. So obviously, like I was like, fuck, like I have no other option. So I let her in, and then, you know, shit happened. She physically abused me at that time. So I definitely knew after that day that I did not want to continue that relationship. And she basically pleaded for me to like at least give her the 2 weeks to like for me to actually think about it. And I was just like, yeah, sure. But I was already like, dude, like I checked out a while ago. You get me? And that just kind of like took the last like I don't know what to say. Like it basically just like confirmed everything, sealed the package, I guess. And so for sure, like not the emotional abuse, not the physical abuse. That's something you shouldn't, you know, allow ever. And then once I got into the other relationship, it was kind of like how you were saying, when I was giving my 100 and she was giving me basically nothing. Honestly, nothing. And other people would see it, but they're just like, you know, whatever. They're whatever, because they knew her longer than they knew me. And so that was my bad on the other part, is that I jumped from one relationship to another without even giving me a second to breathe. You get me? Like I literally jumped from one relationship to another. I probably just gave myself a week within that. So I don't recommend jumping from one relationship into another like that, because I got with her after 2 months, but I knew that I was ready, versus like, you know, jumping, just kind of like being in a spot, kind of how you guys were saying, like having that void inside of you that you just wanted filled, and because that person satisfied that little part of you, like you're just like, oh, okay, I want that. You get me? So that's how it was with that. And it was the whole relationship was me like driving all the way from fucking like Santa Monica all the way down to Cerritos. So if you guys don't know, that is about almost a 2-hour drive every single day for 5 days a week. After work, I would go over there. I would go and meet her because she would close, so I would get here around 6 o'clock, meaning that was her lunch. So I would go get her lunch. I would come meet her. And I swear to God, the whole relationship, I was with her for like 8 months. We did not go out ever. We didn't hang out. The only time that I would ever get to talk to her in person was when I would offer even take her to work. Which, keep in mind, I worked every single day, and I would have to wake up early if she were to go open, and I would have to take her and then go to work and whatever. So I would do so much for her. I'd get her lunch. I would, whenever she needed anything, I was there, regardless. Like, my parents were on my ass, and if she was like, hey, I have a lot of anxiety, hey, I have this, I have that, I wouldn't care. I would leave, and my parents would be like, where are you going? And I'd be like, don't worry about it, I'll be back. And my parents would be mad at me, and I didn't care. Like, I just wanted to be there for her. I wanted to take care of her. I wanted this. So I was giving my 100, and I mean 100, that I got to a point where I realized that because of my last relationship, that I knew that I deserved better. So I confronted her, and she was just like, hey, like, well, do you want to leave, la, la, la. And that was also my bad, is that I was just like, no, like, just work on it. And I was like, okay at first, but, you know, after a continuous amount that you're just like, hey, you're not giving me enough, it's just like, oh, don't, like, it's okay, you can leave whenever you want. At that point, you already know that person's, like, not committed to you. If they even offer the fact, like, you know, you can leave, like, you can leave now, like, you can go. But because I had that void that I was trying to fill, I was just like, fuck, like, no, like, you can work on this, I can work on this, like, I got this. Maybe I'm just overreacting. Maybe you know. So eventually, you know, that didn't work out, and so she ended up, like, leaving me, and I was doing my routine, you know. I had, like, I think it was like a Saturday off, and I was gonna go and meet up with her for lunch because she never wanted to go out, but she would go out with friends. Keep that in mind. She didn't go out with me, but she went out with friends. Anyway, so I went ahead and I was taking her lunch, but then because I had like an hour gap, I think I took her to work that day, and then I was gonna stay for lunch, and I was planning on taking her home. I dropped her off. I went to go visit an old friend that I have. I want to go visit her. I know it's gonna sound kind of messy, but my ex lived with her, but she was an old friend, so I want to go visit my friend. And my ex happened to have been there that day. She was supposed to be off, but apparently she wasn't. And so while I was there talking to my friend, my ex texted me, and she was just like, hey, like, I don't think these things are gonna work out, like, whatever. She kind of just ended it in a one sentence. That whole relation, like, I know 8 months isn't a lot, but 8 months in just a sentence, she ended it like that. And I was like texting back, she ignored me for a whole day, never gave me an explanation, never gave me anything. She would say this, she would say, hey, I'm sorry, like, you were just giving me so much, and I always felt like I could never fulfill or give you back what you gave me. You get me? But behind my back, she was telling people that I was super toxic, that I was this, that I was that, and I was like all this other stuff, you know? So I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, when don't jump from relationship to relationship. 2, when you're with the person, that person's not giving you 50, like, I would say 100. It's like, it's not 50-50, it's 100, then drop it. If that person isn't respecting you enough to even want to go out with you, but does it with other people, you know, like, basically somebody that treats you as less than other, you know, like, when you're with your person, they should treat you, if anything, better than, like, their friends. You get me? Because yes, there's the friends, but if you're in the situation that I like to be in is date to marry, is like, dude, like, you know that I'm gonna be your wife, and, you know, you're gonna choose to hang out with the friends instead of me, even though we never hang out. Like, it's okay occasionally, you know, but, you know, there's that. I think you guys can get the gist of it. It's just, obviously there was red flags, like, throughout the whole relationship, both of them, and I just never picked up on that. So throughout all of that, I just learned not to allow myself to be disrespected, not allow myself to be treated as less than and given less than what I give. So now that I'm in a relationship with her, obviously there's times where no relationship is perfect, and we have our times where it's just like, hey, like, you know what, I feel like I'm giving a lot, but that's when the communication comes in, where you have to communicate, like, hey, you know what, I feel like I've been doing this, I've been doing all the work, and you haven't really been doing much, and then, you know, you communicate and you fix that, or you understand where that person is at mentally, for you to be like, oh, okay, it's okay, like, you know what, you're going through this, and I didn't know, but thank you for communicating with me, I'll be patient. And then you just kind of go back and forth, and you guys, you know, the communication is key. So, sorry, that was a lot, but
I think that ties into, like, one, what I realized is you can't really have a solid relationship if you don't have a solid relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not clear about what you want, if you're not clear about your boundaries,
Definitely.
if you're not clear about all of that stuff, then anything that it's like that foundation, anything that you put on top of it is going to crumble.
Yep.
Right? Because even like what you were saying, Alyzza, when it comes to like, oh, well, I would allow this or that, but it wasn't until you were like decided that I'm going to be true to who I am and what I want, that you were able to find it, well, to attract that same thing, something that, you know, fit within that puzzle. You know, because I think within myself, I've never ever like actively looked for a relationship. It just like, it came about, and then I just kind of like accepted it for what it was. But, you know, it's different, like, trying to learn the game, because like for me, I was a very late bloomer. Like, I didn't date until I was 19. So for me, I was like, if okay, give it a try.
Actually, I like that. That was my goal. My goal was to not date until I was 18. So I think that's good, because you can tell that you learned a lot, and you, as a person that waits more, you pay attention around you, so you know what you don't want, regardless of you being in a relationship or not. You're just like, okay, my friend went through this, my other friend went through that, I don't want this. So I think that personally, like, for example, with my kids, I'm not going to restrict them from dating, but that is something that I'm going to talk to them about. It's just like, hey, like, you really don't need a date to learn what not to do. You know, you can literally pay attention, and especially not just that, you'll work on yourself without focusing on somebody else and that distracting everything that you have to learn about yourself. You get me?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's another good thing too. 19 is good. You don't need to be dating before, you know, it's just, there's no point. You know, you like you said, you learn from others as well. Like, you know, I have a sister, I have older brothers, you know, and if I'm like, damn, I don't want that, you know, and, you know, I said, damn, I was joking. I didn't start really dating until like later on too, you know, and I had a bad experience, you know, but now at least I know what I want. So, okay, this is what I want, this is what I don't want, and this is what I'm looking for. Now I know what I look for in a person, and if you don't have those, what I'm looking for, then you can't do it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's good. Yeah. So next question is love enough. What does that mean?
So the best way that I like to see it is, so I think like this has more to do like when you're in a relationship, you're committed, you know, you have all that, and you see that it is different because I have grown up always being like, oh, I'm gonna date to marry. She has too, but let's say like once anybody has gone to that stage when they're like, okay, I think like this is somebody that I could spend the rest of my life with. If you believe in marriage or not, whether it's just that this is the person I'm willing to spend the rest of my life with, you have it. Let's say you want kids, you have to kind of like go into like thinking like it really is love enough, as in, let's say that you're in a relationship with somebody and they believe, even if you're in the same religion, what if they have different beliefs still than you? Can you work through that? Let's say that somebody has completely different ways of wanting to raise their children. What if two people have completely different...
You can use us as an example.
Yeah, that's true. So like religion based, right? She was raised in a completely different religion than I was. Granted, it's both Christian, so like that, at least we have that. But hers is like a very, very intense, like different kind of Christianity versus, and I'm Catholic, and like it's not super intense, and it's just like there's two complete different ways of like doing it. We both have a huge like, and I mean, granted, thank God we at least both have a relationship with God.
Right.
There's at least that. I think it would be really hard if one of us didn't and the other one did. And that's, you know, some people do have that situation where one's an atheist and one isn't. And like that's kind of like where like the whole is love enough. Like you can love that person with everything that you have, but they don't believe in anything and you do, and maybe that's a huge thing for you. That's something to your core. Or maybe they're just like, for them it's the opposite. Like, I understand that you believe, and maybe like, but they're like, I really don't, and no matter what you say, nothing's gonna change. Or what if it's like there's just that clash, and you can't find that middle ground. It's like it's just a clash and that's it, and then you just keep fighting and fighting and fighting. Like for us, we had to figure out, like, we don't even have our kids yet. We've already had this discussion.
We always talk about everything before.
Yeah.
Not when it's happening or after it's happened.
Yeah, I always knew I am not going to be one of those people who gets into, like, I'm in a relationship, I marry this person, everything, and then, like, once we're in the situation, then I find out that they don't do this and they don't do that and it doesn't work. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to set myself up for failure if I do that. So, like, for us, it was like, when it came to the kids, for example, I always knew I wanted to raise my children Catholic. It was something I always wanted. I have this, I go to church. I have a huge, like, faith. Like, I'm super strong in my faith. I went to an all-girls Catholic school. I went to Catholic school my whole life. Like, it was something for me that I always wanted. And she obviously was raised that way. So we had to have that conversation. So then what are we going to do? And we, at the beginning, we bumped heads a lot.
But keep in mind, we knew that was going to happen because we had already talked about it before we even started dating. We're just like, we both have different beliefs. We don't know, like, we know that we're going to clash. Like, do we agree on that? Yeah, we are going to clash. When time comes, it's going to happen. But we both made the agreement that we're not going to bring each other down. We're just going to figure it out.
We're going to talk. It's like you and me against the problem, not me versus against you.
Right.
So, like, that's a conversation we had to have. There's, like, so many different conversations, ways that you want to raise your kids. What does financial independence look like for you? What does your future look like for you? What about your relationship with the other person? How do you want your relationship with, like, your family to be like with them? And what kind of relationship do you want to have with their family? Or do you have holidays? What are you guys gonna do for holidays? Whose family are you gonna be with? Like, all these little
we talk
things.
about all of that.
It's so much more than just, oh, I love you. Okay, and what? Like, okay, you
what
love me.
What are we gonna do from
so
there?
Many people can love me. Like, that's not a problem. People can love me, no problem. But one, like, obviously, like, all the other things, are you gonna fit, like, what I want in a relationship? But two, can we do this realistically? Can we have
Is it gonna work?
Is it gonna work with like our entire future? Can our entire future actually work out? Like, it's just so much more. What are your expectations? What do you want in a marriage? What are expectations you have as somebody you're gonna raise children with? How do you want to raise your children? What education do you want? What are you gonna preach to the kids? Like, it's kind of stuff like that. Like, it's not just like you just, okay, we love each other, let's jump into this and figure it out. Like, you can't, because that's why things just crumble down. Like, it's more like, the way I think of it is that you're figuring it out now, because when that time comes, you're a little bit more prepared. And even if something's changed, you guys at least both know where you were before. You guys both know where your mind was at, and now you can figure it out then again. But like, it's kind of like just understanding that, like, you kind of like have to like, that's why, like, I think, like, is love enough? Because like, when everyone, all of us have seen enough situations where two people love each other so deeply, but there's something else that doesn't work. Like you said, like, you had situations where you guys were in love, you guys loved each other, but the goals weren't there. And that's where, like, is love enough? And one of the categories I've seen was like our future goals, or what you want in life, or what you want in the future. If it clashes, doesn't matter how much you love each other, like, it's not gonna work.
Right. That was a great example. Honestly, like, I understand now. You know, I believe you get to pick and choose your person too. You know, you're not just, oh, I don't know how they did it back then. Oh, you're gonna marry this person, this and that. Just a level, you know.
Yeah.
And now you get to pick and choose your person. So the question is, love enough? That's a difficult question too, because, you know, like, you might love this person, but you guys don't agree on certain things. You know, it's hard, honestly. So I think before you commit, you're like, okay, you gotta learn how this person is and everything about them. Like, okay, like, we might crash in this, but let's just come to an agreement where we can meet in the middle and work. You know, okay, like, another example too with whose family are we gonna go see? I don't want to just separate because what happens a lot in a lot of families, and I've seen this with, like, a lot of uncles, and, like, you know, they tend to separate themselves with the family just because they want to be with their women, and then the woman just forces them. So sometimes the woman can be so, like, distance that, oh, don't go see your family, this and that, because they're haters, or they're hating on us.
We all have that one uncle.
Right. It's just that it shouldn't be like that. You know what I mean? So that's another great example. But it's love enough? That is a good question. You know, you gotta pick and choose your partner, and yes, I mean, that's all I got to say.
So what's your answer?
My answer is, I don't even know. Honestly, it's just something I have to work on myself. It's just like, I have to really, and I don't know. I don't think love. I don't know. For me, it's like, you have to understand me, and I don't know. That's something I have to work on myself. I can't say yes or no, because even though it is a yes or no question, I don't know. Another thing I want to mention, like, with religion, I want to get into, like, politics and stuff. You know, religion especially. But there is no religion that can save you. You know, you find the best religion that can help you have a relationship with God, but there's no religion that can ever save you. You know, it's yourself. It's your spiritual life. You know, how spiritual can you get with God? And you know, even in every Bible says, if you seek the truth, you will find the truth. You know, so it's important. But it's love enough? Could be. You know, if you guys come to an agreement, okay, just talk over things. You know, so. I'll think about that. I can't give you a specific.
That's fair.
This is deep questions that we're having. You know what I mean? These are deep conversations, because I think the question, is love enough? It really goes back into, like, well, what is?
Oh, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. I have all the things that they said to, like, talk about.
Oh, okay.
Do you want me to read it out?
Yeah.
Okay. It's the things that we always see. We always send it to each other. We're like, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we do. So it says, before you get married or before you choose your partner, discuss bills, parenting styles, credit, debt, religion, how to deal with family, what beliefs will be instilled in your children, childhood traumas, sexual expectations, partner expectations, financial expectations, family health history, mental health history, bucket list, dream home, careers, education, political views, and whatever else comes to mind, because love alone is not enough.
See?
Save
When in doubt, ask somebody who's
Send it to
older.
the,
Trust
you
me
know,
on this one.
significant other, hey, eat this. And
Yeah.
talk about it.
No, definitely. Like that's something that I would recommend for everybody to do if you are in a relationship or if you're going to be in a relationship, which you know a lot of people do want to be in relationships, is to have that saved and kind of make it a cute thing. You know, go on a date, have a journal, write down the questions, and you guys individually answer it or verbally answer it. Like you write it down, however you guys do it, but make that a key thing to do. Like you have to know these things about the person that you're gonna get in a relationship with, because definitely if that does not work, if you guys are gonna clash in that way, there's no way that that's gonna work, unless like we said, you come to a middle ground. But it can also be a situation where, in that moment, you're like, oh yeah, it's fine. But when it actually comes to happen, that person's like, I don't know anymore. Because there's times where we agree on certain things, and then because everybody, as we all know, every single day we're changing. Every single day we're growing. We learn something new. Your mindset changes. So there's days where we're like, you know what, I don't think I want to do that anymore, and then we talk about it and we adjust in a different way. You get me? So it's just like you gotta keep that in mind.
Okay,
also.
we're just not gonna do it, or we'll do something similar, or we'll do it but not in that exact way. We'll do it but like this,
or we just won't do it anymore because we both agreed that, you know what, nah. You know?
So
These conversations blow my mind because it's like, for me, like you guys are so mature in this, like I don't know, it blows my mind because like I was not thinking like that at all at your guys' age. Like for me, like I don't think I started off dating like to marry. Like it was just like we're hanging out. You know what I mean? Like we're talking. We're you know, that's I think I'm more of like that modern way, but only because like, for example, in my family all I see is divorce. So it's like I never thought about like, I mean, I knew I wanted to be married, but it was like, it wasn't like what I was leading with because I never had that example.
Right.
Like I was raised by a single mom. My mom was raised by a single mom, and like after that, before that, I really don't even know. So it's like I had to figure out a lot of stuff on my own and figure out like, okay, what does a relationship really look like? What does that mean? Because even my friends, I mean, my best friends, their parents were, I'm the only one in my very close friend group that comes from like a broken home, you know, so like I could see kind of within them, but it's not the same as like when
growing up with
it, you know, so it was a completely different mindset because it's like I was never around, not only just like the parents, but also I never really had any guy friends growing up unless they were like gay or like no, but honestly
that's just how it went.
But that's just how it was. So like I honestly really didn't know how guys, like how they worked or like there was no male figures around me like at all. So like it was all so new to me when it comes to like how men think and like what they want, and outside of like, you know, of course social media, and you like you can kind of like pick up on stuff, but it's a whole different ballgame when you're throwing yourself in the game, you know. So me going into the game, I had to learn like, oh, not everybody wants the best for you, not every people will take advantage of you, people like, because I was so innocent when it comes to like the dating pool that I was like, I had to like, I fell for a lot of stuff was, I think I was very easily like taken advantage of in a lot of different ways, or just very naive because it was like I don't have any, you know, like like, so it's just so different because you guys are coming from like a very solid foundation, I feel like. So like
I think it's like because of what you said, like I know for her father literally chose to marry her mother when he was 15 years old. So
that blows my mind.
And like they've been married ever since, and they're still married, and they have 5 kids, and like they love each other, and he
5 kids, 5 grandchildren already.
Yeah, like they like that's like her where she comes from, and where I come from. Like you've seen my parents every day, and my dad literally was the one who taught me, you date to marry. He said, don't you dare go and just go around and waste your time. Why? He's like, I didn't do that. I'm not going to teach my daughter to do that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay. And my mom was like the same thing. She's like, my only serious boyfriend was your father. And that was it. He is he's it, and I had all these expectations, and he had to meet him, and he did. And I would go on a first date with somebody. I saw one thing I didn't like, out. I'm not even gonna deal with you. And I was like, damn. And like, so because I think seeing that's why we were, being raised with that. We were that was like why for us it was easier to just be like, well, we're gonna date to marry. And then, like, I think, like, so people see, like, why, like, our, we came from where we came from and why she comes from where she comes from. Like, the two different, like, ways of coming into the pool. Because regardless of which way you come in, it's still going
to end the same. Like, you have to, it's kind of like a funnel. We all come from different places, but we all have to make that one decision to get to know our person and talk about the difficult topics before you even start, and then we kind of all like end not end the same, but we all end up like getting into a relationship. Most people end up getting married, some people get divorced, some people would not, but it's better to limit that before and ahead of time, because that's typically how divorces happen. It's just like if you're not in communication with your person, sometimes things happen, but for the most part, like, divorces usually happen because of the miscommunication, because you rush into a relationship without, like, getting to know that person well. All of these things that they can be narrowed down and I guess taken for like percentage wise from like a 80% down to like maybe at least a 50%. If you guys were people were just to communicate a lot more about things that are actually important, and not just like in that moment what you think is important, but what's going to be important in the future also. So yeah,
it's all that work you guys are doing beforehand, because I'm like, dang, I don't even think I'd be like talking about a lot of those different conversations, like looking back at like some of my past like situations. But I think it has to do with where I was at the time when it comes to like, I wasn't really looking for anything serious, so it's like we're not having serious conversations, because it's like, I agree, we're just having fun, or like we're just like getting to know each other, like we're like we're going to the movies and doing, what I mean, like, because I don't want to like make it sound like if you're just dating like for fun, that you're like, I was gonna
I want to clarify that too, is that everybody is living at their own time. So even though yes, like you say, like maybe we're a little bit more mature than you were at our age, that was our timeline,
and that was I think that was our decision when we were ready, like all that, like it was just what was right for us at that our ages that we even started doing that.
So to clarify for everybody, like I don't want anybody to feel offended or in any type of way or anything. It's that everybody has their own timeline. Everybody's gonna live their life in the way that they have to live their life. There's people that learn in harder ways than others. Like for example, I didn't have to get into many relationships to learn that I don't want an abusive relationship, that I don't want like all these things, because I had seen that through my own sister. There's people out there that don't have siblings, there are people out there that don't have those experiences, that aren't going to learn that until they go through it themselves. And there's just different situations, people that take a lot longer to learn, people that learn a lot sooner, people that don't even have to go through it to learn. There's just different situations, and we all have those. It's just in different stuff in our lives. So just to clarify, that we're not trying to say like, oh, we're superior. Oh,
no. I meant more so in the sense of like, when I say dating for fun, I don't mean like sleeping around. Like that's what I wanted to clarify, because like there's people that I like, not that you look like pop off, but I'm just saying.
That's what I'm saying. Like you guys can do what you want.
Do you?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, when I say like dating for fun, I just meant like genuinely, like I like your company, you like my company, like now we can go hang out. You know what I mean? It's it's kind of like where I was at. So like for me, like it wasn't so much like, I mean sometimes like a deeper conversation will pop up, but it was more so like, because it wasn't me looking at you as even like a future boyfriend or like a future husband. It was just like, oh, like what'd you do today? Like like, oh, where are you today? But I think it's very important, and I think it's necessary to have that conversation of, once you realize you want more out of somebody, and you realize that, like, because I had that shift where I was like dating for fun, and I realized like, okay, like I'm tired of this like for fun thing, like when am I gonna get like something real? And if I don't let that go, because I was in the dating for fun stage, because I realized, oh shoot, I keep like attracting and entertaining, you know, emotionally unavailable people because I myself am emotionally unavailable.
Right.
And that was a hard realization.
Right.
I was like, oh my God.
No.
Wait a minute. Like, it's me. I am the issue. So it was, and I'm not, you know, getting hard on myself about that because I think, you know, once you're like trying to discover yourself and you're like in survival mode, sometimes you don't have the space to, you know, welcome like a serious relationship, which is where I was at. But once I had that shift of like, okay, like I've been working on myself and I'm really starting to become clear on what I want and what I don't want, and if I want that soon, like if I want like something real eventually or soon, I have to make room for that. And so that was honestly pretty hard for me to go ahead and be like, okay, let me go ahead and let go of what I'm used to, let go of my comfort zone, let go of just dating for fun or dating for comfort or whatever it is, and make room for, okay, now I eventually want to go ahead and have something real. So right now I'm in that stage of letting that go and just like enjoying myself, so that eventually when I'm the person that I want to be in a relationship, then there's room for it. Right? Because I think Steve Harvey made a great point. Like he said like one time he really wanted like a new car, and he knew he was going to get a new car, but he had his old car in his driveway. So his mom would always be like, well, how are you going to get that? You're not prepared. Why would God or like whoever, like why would the situation arise in which you can receive that new car come along if you already have your old one there? Like you're not prepared and ready to receive it. You know, so until he was able to get rid of his old car and clean the lot and make room for it, was he able to actually go ahead and get that new car. So I say that to say, like, right now I'm in the stage of my lot is clean. Like, I'm cleaning it up, I'm fixing it up, I'm becoming the person that I have to be and I want to be, to go ahead and, you know, bring that person in. You know what I mean? For when that time comes. You know what I mean? I don't think I'm that person yet. I don't think I'm that woman that I want to be yet. But I feel her coming, and so I'm excited for when I'm who I want to be to attract who I want.
Wow. That's interesting, honestly.
Thank you.
Because I could relate to it too. It's like, for me to get in a relationship, you know, it's like I'm not the man I want to be yet, you know, and there's a lot of things I want to be. I want to be this person before, you know, I get into a relationship, you know, so it could be easier. But, you know, sometimes, like you said, even to like when we say you're not always gonna be ready, you know, sometimes you just gotta go dive into the world, right? So you're not always gonna be ready, you know. That's what I think, you know. So we're gonna want to better ourselves. As much as I want to better myself, yes, I want to be ready. But if it happens, if this is like a girl I really like, or not just like because she really gotta, you know, meet people. She gotta like, you know, just understand me. Okay, I kind of lost myself already, but yeah, it's just you're never ready, you know. It's just never ready.
When it happens, it happens, regardless of the timing that you have for yourself. When it's supposed to happen, it's gonna happen.
Exactly. Like, it could be financially taking the risk. Like, oh, I'll just get this opportunity when I'm ready, and you're never ready. Oh, that's that relationship. I'm not getting myself in a relationship because I'm not ready. But when are we really ready? You know, because we're always trying to do something to better ourselves, but we're never ready. You know. But
I 100% agree. I think, like, you know, as much as I wish that, like, before God placed her in my life, that I was more in like your situation where you're now like really like getting yourself really ready. Because I know like if the right guy comes, like okay, you'll figure it out from there. But like I was really almost like nowhere near ready by the time she came into my life, and I kind of had to like I even told her, I was like, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I have everything that it takes to be like who I want to be in a relationship. And I knew that there's obviously two choices. There's a choice where you can be like, you can say like, you know what, let me work on myself, you continue to work on yourself, and then we'll come back together. There's obviously another round with like, I'm just not, like, I need to work on myself, bye. And then there's obviously the other choice where it's like, you know what? Why don't we try and see if we can do this together? And I know that was the route we took. That, like, I guess kind of to see different perspectives, we took that route. And
we knew it was going to be more difficult.
Oh, yeah. It's so much more difficult.
But we would rather go through it together than separate. You know, like, we can work on ourselves. Like, I know a lot of people think, like, you know, you can't work on yourself when you're in a relationship. But reality is, you can do anything that you want to do if you set your mind to do it. So if obviously she has to work on herself and I have to work on myself, or let's say it's just one singular person that has to work on themselves at that moment, then you just have to learn to give them that space to be able to do that. If they're just like, hey, you know what, like, I need to work on this, and you're just like, okay, like, how can I help? Is there anything I can do? Do you need time alone? Do you, like, what is it that you need?
It's a constant open communication.
Right.
It takes a lot more work, but it's possible.
Because, you know, like, as humans, we're always consistently growing and changing. You're never gonna stay exactly the same for the rest of your life. As much as some people want to think that they're exactly the same, they've always been the same, they haven't. They have little things that change about them, little things that grow. Like, it just is. It's true. There's something, even if it's small, there's something that's always kind of changing within us. So, like, I think, like, there was one point, it was right before I met her, when I was like, I don't want to be in a relationship until I've, like, grown. And I think when I met her and I was like, but this is what I wanted to have already fixed myself and worked on this, and I would have wanted to already be this person and all this. I kind of, like, reminded myself to kind of ease it. It was just like, look, you're always going to be changing. So then what, you're just not going to be with her ever? Because you're never going to be the best version of yourself. And, like, you know what I mean? Like, in one singular moment, you're gonna... I
guess the way that we think is, like all of us, is that we are never going to settle for who we are at this moment and be like, you know what, I'm done. It's just like, no, like, you're always going to want to better yourself. Mm-hmm. So her and my mindset were just like, okay, well, let's just do it together right now, because regardless, we're never going to be satisfied with who we are at the moment.
And we're always going to be, like, the way I thought is, we're always going to be changing. We're always going to be growing. And I think I had this conversation with her. Why don't we just figure out how to do this together right now? Because even if we separate and we grow, when we come back together,
we're not going to be the same people.
Not only are we not going to be the same people, it was also like, we're going to keep growing and changing. And then once we decide to come together, we're going to still have to figure out how we're going to do it while we're growing and changing, because we're always going to be growing and changing. So it's kind of like making that decision. We need to let's figure it out together, because there's never going to be a time when we come together that we're not going to have to be worried about that. Yeah. So let's just figure it out now than later. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of like something like that. That was like the route that we took. So, like, I guess, like,
that's the healthy choice and the correct one. Mm-hmm. Life is change. It does not stop. There's no, I'm going to wait until I'm perfect. Nobody's perfect. You're never going to be. Yeah. If you think you are, you're never going to be in a relationship, and that's probably for the best.
Yeah.
Well, I think it depends on I don't want to make it sound like, I mean, like, to be perfect or, like, your final form, you know what I mean? I think it's more so, like, you know, like, at least, like, to where you're healthy. You know what I mean? Like, because if you're not open at all, because it sounds like you guys at least had, well, I don't know, like, because I know you had just gotten, like, you had both been in, like, a weird spot. Yeah. But at least if you could see the light, then I think it's easier to go ahead and both of you climb out to that light. You know what I mean? If you're in, like, a dark place and you're just trying to go ahead and, like, let me figure out how to even, like, start to see that, that light at all, then that's what I'm more so talking about, you know?
I agree with what you said.
Like, one of the questions you had earlier, somebody asked you was, is love enough? Like, the follow-up to that would be, then, what would you consider love?
Mm-hmm.
Continue.
I wanted to mention something, like, funny right now. It's like, you know, when you say you're never perfect, you know, back then, I had this insecurity where I had to have that car, I had to have these shoes for me to feel good, you know, for me to, because we live in, like, in a society now where materialistic things matters, right? So, you think, she's not gonna like me because I drive this old car, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you'll be insecure, it's like, oh, now in this society, oh, they don't like you because of it, you know?
Mhm.
So for the longest time, I'm like, damn, like, I need this car, and then I'll do this, you know, just type of thing. Oh, I need this type of clothing for me to be confident, you know? It's like, that insecurity, you know, that has gone away because as I grew up, as I'm becoming an adult, none of that matters, you know? Everybody's just fighting for, you know, for to build themselves up,
Yeah.
you know, to build up,
Right.
you know. But what do you guys think about that, you know, like for women to, not specifically women, men too, you know, and I don't know how to put it. It's just, damn, we got gas over here.
What are you trying to say? We can cut it out. Just tell me.
Okay. No, so I'm basically trying to say like the materialistic things, you know, like how the insecurities that we put upon ourselves, and just we make it seem like everybody's opinion matters. Which is,
You're too self-conscious.
Yeah, I guess the best way to put that is that kind of like with business, you know, like when we go out and talk to people, we're just like, look, if it's the right person, it's the right person, regardless of what you say. If you think it's like a total mess in your head, it's gonna be perfect for that. So I guess the best way to put it into relationship wise is like, okay, like for example, I thought that I was a total mess when she met me. When she met me though, she saw the perfect person. She was like, dude, you're everything I've ever wanted. To me, myself, I thought I was a complete mess.
Yeah.
And I was looking at her thinking, oh, shit, you're everything that I've ever wanted. Yet she just confirmed that she wasn't even close to her full potential, like where she wanted to be. So when you meet that person isn't gonna look at you materialistically. Like they're not gonna, for example, me personally, I know everybody has their own ways of thinking, but I don't look at somebody on the exterior and just like fall in love. Like I'm a person that I fall in love with you because of your heart and your mind. The way that you think, the way that you love, like that's what I fall in love with. And then I'm just like, okay, well, you know, the outside. But even then, to me personally, that's not like the biggest thing. It's really not. As you can see from my record, but it's really not. So I guess it just depends on it, like when it's your person's gonna love you for you, inside and out. You get me? And you're not gonna have to think about it. Just like how she was saying, she wants a person that's not gonna make her question, like, do you really love me? Like, you know, that you don't want that to be in your head. You don't want to be with somebody that's gonna make you feel like, damn, if I don't have this car, she's not gonna like me. Damn, if I don't have this hair, she's not gonna like me. It's just like, hey, I could be at my worst. I could be literally living like a freaking bum. Like we can go bum it out together, and she's still gonna love me whether I took a shower today or not. You get me? Like that's what you need to find. That's how you know when your person's your person, is because they'll love you through the worst mistake that you're gonna make. You can make the worst mistake and they're still gonna stick it out with you because they're just like, they believe in you. They know who you truly are, and they're like, look, you know, you made a mistake, all right, but I believe in you. Then that's when it comes to you, whether you're gonna make that mistake again or not. But that person loves you enough, they will see that. And then after that, that's kind of to you, you know?
I feel like a lot of it has to do with maturity too. You know, okay, like when you get your partner, you know, they focus on the materialistic things, like where's your matureness in that, you know?
Yeah.
And you're right, if somebody's gonna really stick to you with it thick and thin, like that's how you know it's like, that's cool.
Because you gotta remember that all the materialistic shit, you can lose it in a second. It's not gonna be there. So when, not saying when it happens, but if that were to happen, if you were to, you know, we're all gonna make it, but you know, if we were to lose everything that we're supposed to, yeah, right? If we were to lose everything that is supposed to happen for us, we were to lose it all in a second. Is that person that you're with willing to stay with you even then, when you hit rock bottom? Would they be able to stick through it and love you through that? You get me?
Yeah. I have a question. This question gonna be for you. Make it big for everybody.
Your face. Your face.
Okay, they say, you know, when you become successful and stuff, and still haven't found your partner, right? But you met this guy and he happens to work in McDonald's. Would you take him out of there, and would you help him build himself up?
It all depends on mindset. You know what I mean? Because we all start from somewhere, so it depends on that. Like, I have no problem growing with somebody. I have no problem with that. It depends on if your mindset is truly there. Like, if I'm successful and you're successful up here, but you're still putting in the work to go ahead and grow, then that's one thing. But But if I'm successful and you're not, you have no goals to be successful, you're completely complacent with where you're at, then that's going to be a problem. Because if you're, especially when it comes to like a man and a woman being together, right? Because those dynamics are different. If I'm the one that's being successful and I'm moving and I'm shaking and I'm a leader of leaders and I'm doing all these things, and you're, you know, less than, or you feel like you're less than, then it doesn't matter how much I try to affirm that person or that man. Within himself, he's already going to have those insecurities.
Yeah.
I've seen it because I make more, and inherently from what I've seen, a man, like a traditional type of man, when it comes to those, you know, for lack of better words, like the stereotypes and stuff like that.
It's machismo. You're right.
It, you know what I mean? It you know, that's how it is. Like if a man's man wants to be the provider and he wants to be the one that's the protector and he wants to be that, like, within himself, and he sees that he's not that, then he's gonna have that internal battle within himself. You know what I mean? So it's the same way, and I don't want to compare it to this, but like I'm not the shortest lady. So like for me, when I'm only 5'7", but like I'm a tall girl.
Yeah.
So
Spend my money on 6'6".
Just to clarify, she typically tastes a lot. Her typical taste is who do you normally
I
like?
date a lot of Hispanics,
and you know we all know Hispanics tend to be a little bit shorter than the usual, so.
You know what I mean? So I'm just saying.
Welcome to the carne asada.
She's literally Mexican.
I know.
Over here is Mexican.
Thank you. Like we all know. If you know me, you know. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying. So I'm a taller girl. So for me, for example, Alicia, thank you. But for example, like if I'm wearing heels. And then you're not looking at me and being like, damn, baby, you look great. Like, you're working. Well, you don't have to say it like that. You're working that shit, you know? But if you're like, no, you need to take those off because now you're taller than me. Like, I've had guys tell me that.
That's just
so
messed up.
that's you being insecure and trying to dim my shine and dim what makes me feel good. And I don't respect that. Because then I need a guy that's going to be like, I don't care if I'm 5'5". You look good. You wear those heels, babe, because you're going to make me... You look great. You make me look better because I'm on your arm.
Yep.
You know, that's what I need. So it's like, in the same sense of... Thank you! In the sense of, like, when it comes to success, if I'm bringing in the dough, if I'm hustling and I'm doing what I got to do for myself, I need you to add to it.
Yeah.
I can't just be like, you're comfortable with me doing all of this work, and you're just like, yeah, you do what you gotta do.
Just in general, you need somebody who isn't gonna be ever like comfortable.
It's like you're
comfortable. It comes down to that. We need to be equal. If you're trying to figure out how to be equal, that's one thing.
Yeah.
That is one separate thing. If you're like your mindset is still stunted
where you're at.
Yeah, it's mindset. If you're stunted here, then I cannot and I will not.
It's just like I can't work with you.
Yeah.
I can't work with you. If you don't even qualify to work with me,
you're like, even if I wanted to, this wouldn't work out, dude.
Like, I can't even recruit you. I can't even.
Exactly. And not even saying that they have to be in the business, because it's not even about that. But you have to have something going for yourself outside of that. You know what I mean?
So the answer is yes, if they have that mentality, right?
Yes, if they have the mentality.
Yeah, I totally agree with that too. It's like, you know, like any girl out there, you know, if I find you like the prettiest and stuff, you know, you're the most stunning, you know, you got a little confidence.
I wink for you.
We're gonna get to
when we
look at in a person, okay? And I'm gonna explain every little detail, okay? But look, if you could be the prettiest, but you know, if you don't have the mindset I'm looking for, I'm sorry, you can't. I can't date you, so.
Eliminate. Fuera! Fuera!
Yeah, that's very important. So.
I think, you know, something like, because you know how you said that, like, especially, like, when it came to, like, a man and a woman, there tends to be that, like, stereotype where there's, like, the man wants to be, like, the head. So I'm going to speak for us lesbians over here, because this other girls are going to be watching. I was because my past relationship was actually that situation where I was in a relationship with somebody where when I was like, my mindset was up here. I was amazing, where I said like they would always bring me down. The truth was that once that relationship, when I noticed like the relationship was over, and we remained friends for like that short amount of time, I remember like noticing that their minds had changed. But it was kind of that recognition of like the reason that they brought me down so much and were so negative about me being like successful, me being this, me being that, was because they wanted to be the top. And it was like, obviously I'm the more girly one, you can tell. Like I'm not, I tend to like the relationships I'm in when it comes to women are stems. So because
There's people out there that don't know that.
So it's basically a tomboy, if that makes sense. It's like a girl who's a little bit more like a tomboy. When I am in a relationship with like, sometimes I've noticed that like, I'm trying to say it in the right way. Like what, at least in my situation, what I had in the past, that has happened, and I know from other like situations that's happened to them too. And not obviously everybody, but I've heard from other people that other people have had the same experience. And it's just kind of like, regardless of wherever you're at, I feel like having that equal is what you search for. Of like, it doesn't matter if it's like, you know, obviously like a guy and a girl, or two girls or two guys, and one of them, like, you know, like there's the stereotypes that come into play, like for lack of a better word, like she said, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, there needs to be that where you're my equal. That if I'm gonna be like up here, you're gonna be matching that. That you're gonna at least be working for it, but you're gonna be matching it. And that's kind of like, and well, if you're moving up, like I'm gonna move up too. If I'm moving up, you're gonna move up too. Like we're just always working on being equals. And that's kind of like, just like, because I know, like, I kind of wanted to say it because so that other people, like, who have been in my situation, like, they understand, like, it happens in all kinds of different relationships and different ways that they are. Like, it's just something that's common and it happens in either, like, way. So just, I guess, like, I want to say it out there.
Equal, do you mean if somebody breaks in, I can send you down there as well, or not?
Yeah. Basically.
She would send me down.
I'm like,
because you know, that is a very good point. I feel like nobody, you know, as I'm a guy, you know, it's like I tend to be wanting to be the man. I want to make more, you know, but that would only feel like it make my partner feel like, damn, like he feels like he has some type of control over me or something. Like I would hate that, you know, for her to think that way, you know. I'm just there to protect her, you know. So we both have roles, you know. You can't just have, I can do what the other guy does, you know. It's like, no, you know, we both have our specific roles as to protect and provide. Right. So if somebody were to break in, I'm gonna go down and be willingly as well, you know, because you're my partner and I'm gonna protect you.
If I was in a straight relationship, I'd be back there with you. I'd be like, all right, I got you, side by side or something, you know.
That's right.
That's just how I am. Like she knows, like
honestly, like I know that if I would be terrified. I'd be like, no. But then if she's down there, what if something happens? I'd be like, gotta go down there.
You're back there, like, you know. I feel like it'd be effed up for one of you to go, like in a scary movie, like, and like, dude, we're dying to get out. I don't know what you're talking about.
I feel like I would go just because, like, I'd be like, fuck, I don't want her to die. What if I can, like, prevent her death?
Yeah.
So then I would go just to make sure she doesn't die. Not to protect myself, but make sure she doesn't die.
Hey, it's always better 2 against 1, you know.
Hey, scary movies are hella funny sometimes. Like, they're always coming at you and you just stay there and just like still like, bro, run, bro.
I'd be screaming at the screen. I'd be screaming at the screen.
Why are you standing there? What's wrong with you? Run.
Yeah.
There was sorry.
We're like getting off track.
I know there was something that Robert actually had said earlier, but I forgot what it was. It was I think he had said it wasn't is love enough, but what is love to you?
That would be the follow-up question.
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna continue on before like you started talking.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to start or.
No, you can go ahead because you wanted to like,
No, I was just gonna say because a lot of people tend to mistake, especially.
That's all I gotta say.
Especially.
Mistake sexual attraction.
Yeah, that's true.
They tend to mistake physical sexual attraction for love. It's not the same thing.
No, I was gonna say something now. That's a
That's
whole
true.
ass other conversation.
That's true.
It's not
That's
the same
I'm like
thing.
that's
That is
a whole
something
ass
else
other
entirely.
conversation. There's love and lust, but
Yeah.
you know, it's not even
True.
just that. The thing that we were supposed to talk about that I don't know if we even touched on it is the fact that a lot of people, especially our age, tend to mix up love as a feeling instead of love being an action.
Oh, yeah.
Something that you will learn if you haven't already learned is that when you are in love, it isn't a feeling. Love, that feeling that you feel in the beginning of like the relationship isn't gonna be there forever. There's a lot of people that tend to be like, oh, you know what, I don't feel that spark anymore, so we're gonna end the relationship like that. That's just not how it works. And you can ask anybody that's been in a long-term relationship that shit like turns off and turns on whenever it wants. It's not something that's consistent. What is consistent, what I consider to be love, would be your commitment. The decision that you make every single day to want to be with that person. You get me? Regardless of the things that happen, like you knowing, obviously there's a when you're being mistreated and all that stuff, obviously get out of there, you know, but if it's just the love feeling that you're just like, I don't know if I feel the spark anymore. It's just like, dude, love isn't a feeling. Love is the commitment that you make every day to that person. Like when you get married and it's like through the good and the bad, you get me? It's like your commitment. You just have to wake up every day, and regardless of what argument you guys had yesterday, regardless of whatever like the situation is, it's you commit to it. You're like, okay, you know what, regardless of this, I love my person, we're gonna figure it out, we're gonna talk through it, it doesn't matter. And it's just like letting down, don't be petty, you know, letting down that part of you, and just like going and talking, going and communicating, you know, continuing to make that decision every single day. That's what, to me, that's what love is. It isn't a feeling, it isn't. And the more you're with like a person, the more you'll start to learn that. The more that the situations that you're gonna go through, you'll see if you truly love that person, because you choose to stay and work through it. But it can't be a one-sided thing. Just to clarify, it's not a one-sided thing. It's a commitment you guys both have to make. It can't be something that you're just making that commitment of waking up and be like, I want to be with this person, and this person's over here doing something behind your back. It's like, no, you guys both have to wake up on this, like the same mindset. Like we're gonna work on this together. You get me? We're committed to each other every single day. You guys both have to make that decision. If not, it's not gonna work. And that's how you know if somebody doesn't love you, because they're not committing every single day to showing you that they love you. But yeah.
The most common description of love is work.
Basically.
Love is what?
Work.
Like it's
You have to
never
put
gonna
in the
be like, you're not gonna see those fairy tale romances. You're gonna like, if you see it on TV, it's wrong. That is your general benchmark. If you think something's gonna end up like that, you are wrong in every single way. I've heard from numerous people who are married, one of the most common descriptions I've heard is, it's dealing with like when your wife's pregnant and she's throwing up because of that. Mm-hmm. You're there with her holding her hair back.
Yeah.
That's love. Mm-hmm. Not, oh, I love you so much, darling, we're going to dinner.
It's like from a distance, you know, like it's that person that's gonna commit with you through everything.
Yeah.
Like I said.
Kind of like how I said, like, I want like that best friend who's gonna be there through every milestone, through every little thing. It's like that, like kind of like what Robert said of like, I want to know that like when I'm pregnant. I mean, it works for us. When I'm pregnant, like you're gonna be holding my hair back when I'm throwing up, because I know that when you're pregnant and you're throwing up, I'll be holding your hair back. So I mean, it works like that for us. But like
people on a different level.
Yeah, dude. We've had people ask us like, "Are you guys gonna get pregnant together?" I'm like, "That? No. How is that gonna work, dude? Like, we're both gonna be rolling off the bed. Like, it's like what?"
But like, yeah, it's kind of like, I guess like for us, like obviously it works a little bit differently. It's kind of like, that's kind of like how like I think of it. Like I know I literally just told her this yesterday. Like she asked me, why do you love me? And like we say it to each other, like we ask them, you know, like just reassurance, or just like, you know, I just want to know, like I want to feel a little special today, like right now, tell me. And it was kind of, I think it was, I was driving back home, right? Or was I driving to the event? It doesn't matter. I think I was driving to the event. Yeah. And she asked me, why do you love me? And obviously I'm fully aware love isn't just like, it isn't just a feeling. It's obviously an action and a commitment and a choice, and it's something that you're always like looking for. And I had the best way that I like had like just I had described it to her was, I see everything that you are, who you are as a whole, and I see who I am right now as a whole. Obviously, like I said, like the way that we work is we are like this perfect puzzle piece. I'm not saying that you need to make you. I need you to make me full, and I know you don't need me to make you full and make you feel like a whole. You are whole on your own, and I am whole on my own. But together, she fills up all of my weaknesses, and I fill up all of hers. And if we put together all of our strengths together, we create like this superhero of a human. And together we can do anything. And with that is how I want to live the rest of my life. With somebody who I have on my side every single day, no matter what, doing this business together, doing everything together, raising a family in the future together, creating a legacy together, or having like creating a whole new last name together, like everything, a whole new generation together, but doing it with the superpower that we have and the superhuman that we are as like you know, together. And like that's what I want. That's me kind of like, that's like I guess my response to saying like, this is how I know I love you, this is how I love you. Because I knew like it's not just like, oh well you're beautiful and you're sweet and you're nice, and like no, it's not just that. It's more than that. It's so much more. It's like I said, like that's what I want for the rest of my life. I'm making that choice, and it's that commitment and that choice. And this is how I see you. This is how I see me. This is how I see us, and this is what I want forever. And that's me loving you, making that choice of us together forever.
What is love for you? You already said your part.
Yeah. Well, I think it boils down to, because I've heard this said before. It's like, do I love you or am I in love with you? Because there is a difference. I feel like, right? You can say it again.
Say it again. Do I love you or what?
Do I love you or am I in love with you? You know, because that's the difference. Because not to get too personal.
I was gonna bring that one up too.
Right? That's something that someone in my family said to somebody else in my family. You know, was like, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. And so it's, yeah. I didn't want to get too personal.
You're going to have to learn to distinguish both.
Yeah, I didn't want to get too personal with that. But
there is a distinction.
Yeah.
There's so many times when I confuse that.
My whole first relationship was that. Mm-hmm. Was me feeling pity and loving the person rather than being in love and wanting to actually pursue a relationship. So.
Yeah, because there is a difference. Like, we're people that can go ahead and share love just instinctively, right? Like I can meet somebody and you make me laugh, I have a great time with you. Oh my God, I love you, you know? But yeah, right, yeah, like I can truly mean that. Like I have love for a lot of people.
Right.
The people that have come into my life and I've had like some type of relationship with, I have had love for all of them, right? But it's like, but I'm not in love with you. Right. When you're in love with somebody, you're in it. You're asking those questions. You're digging deeper. It's like it's tapping into that love feeling and putting in that work that you're talking about of like, I love you, but what does that mean? Like, who is this person that I'm having this feeling for? You know, what makes you smile? What makes you cry? What I'm really trying to get to know you to where now I know you so well. Sometimes I feel like I might know you as much as I know myself. You know, sometimes more. You're a mirror, and now because I'm getting to know you, I've learned so much more about myself.
Yeah.
Right? You're. That's how deep in love I am with you. right? It's different. So that's where I think that distinction comes in. It's because love is cute. Love is, you know, we're having a good time, and you know, this is fun, and you know, you make my day better. You could definitely make my day better. You know, I'm excited to see you. But in love is now that I'm with you, and what happens when it's a bad day? Yeah. You know, what happens when you're in a bad mood, I'm in a bad mood, or you know, your whole world gets or like what happens when I'm going through the worst day of my life? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna be there for me? Yeah. You know, or and vice versa. So I think it goes back to that work and that commitment of no matter what, I am in this with you, and I commit to be in this with you and figure it out, and always lift you up in the process, because sometimes people can be there and I commit to be there but you're committing to be a nuisance. You know what I mean? Yep. Like, I commit to make your life miserable for the rest of your life, right? You do that, that's also a commitment, right? But it's that positive aspect of it, you know, and being optimistic and being both sides of the coin, you know. So I think that's really what it boils down to, and I think that's where a lot of my fear comes in when it comes to receiving love, is because, like, okay, like, you love me and I see that you love me and you show that you love me, but are you in love with me? Because that's different. Are you in love with me on a deeper level? Do you really, it's really committing to fully see that person for who they are through and through. Right. And so that takes well, shadow work. That takes like a lot of knowing who you are and just putting that process, going through it.
I think like if you were to like pay attention to those words, because I think they both fit so well in that like love is more than just a feeling. Mm-hmm. Like if you pay attention to the words in love, right? Mm-hmm. People tend to say when they think, oh, I don't feel like they feel like that love is gone, they'll say, I don't feel like I'm in love with you anymore, right? Mm-hmm. That's what you hear. I don't feel like I'm in love with you anymore. And that people confuse saying I don't feel like I'm in love with you anymore, when, like you said, in love means you're in that love. You're in it. You're in that commitment of love. You're in that commitment. Like, and take out the word love and put commitment. And it's literally like, I'm in commitment. Like, and it literally is like, that's really how you have to see it. The word in love is really saying, are you in that relationship and committing every single day? It's not a feeling. Saying I'm in love isn't just a feeling. It's in love means are you doing that work, like you said. Mm-hmm. And I think like people like sometimes need to pay attention to the words, like, oh, I'm in love, but like listen to the words, like actually pay attention to the words. I am in like love.
Dive in.
Like in. But like really, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
no, yes.
Like that's something that like sometimes you need to see that, like understand that maybe this is how you imagined what, oh yeah, I'm in love with you, what that means, versus like, but that one's usually confused with that emotional and just like the feeling part of it, versus this one is like the work and the putting in that effort and putting in the commitment and the time and the like energy and your like everything into that, and make like working and creating like a beautiful relationship. Because like you said, like that's not just like if you really like, you're just infatuated, you're not in love. Like that's just how it works. Like you're just infatuated. If you believe that like you're with somebody because of this feeling, you're infatuated with them. Now when something hard comes up and enough hard things come up, are you really in love with them? Are you really? And you'll know if you actually are or not if you're not willing to do that work. Because so many times people will be in a relationship and they're like, yeah, of course I love that person. And then not until they get into that right relationship or another relationship that at least was better than the other ones, and they're like, I don't really think I was in love with that person. Mm-hmm. Well, obviously not, because if you were in love, you would have been in it and having that work, both of you, obviously, like it's both of you. And when it's the right person for
it's
you,
like going through the shit versus dancing around it.
Yeah, like then you're actually like.
It's kind of why when there's married couples that have been together for a long time, And there's some people say, oh, they're so perfect. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, you think so? You seem to have missed the part where they were tearing each other's hair out about an hour ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what we call emotions aren't in your head. They really aren't. They're a physical response.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in love with somebody, you're not feeling the emotional attachment. You've spent time with them, you had time to think about this, and you have consciously made the decision that, you know what, all those emotions and feelings and all the good stuff I was feeling, they're a great marker, but everything else that I've experienced with them is why. It gives you your reason why.
Yeah.
This is very interesting because as we're all learning from each other as well, and I totally agree from all three of you on the like in love or being committed, and I have a different perspective like on that type of word because it isn't easy to use. It shouldn't be easy to use, and I'm low-key like it's a scary word, to be even just to be committed, because like as love is amazing, love is also weird, and it could also hurt. You can love somebody and then like it didn't work out, and then now you're like left like with this heartache. You're like, damn, like it's not gonna last forever. I want to make sure everybody knows that hard times don't last, but you are gonna feel that day for a week, 2 days. I don't know that just like that heartache. Has anybody had like a real life heartache where you just feel like damn?
I think
like,
we all have.
Yeah, right. You haven't?
I haven't been in love.
No?
Oh no, I thought. Wait, you mean in love or just a heartache in general?
Like,
No,
just
in love.
in
love,
but
heartbreak.
also like
A heartbreak caused by being in love.
I want to hear his.
Yeah, just like
I don't know what he means.
Not necessarily it could like be in a relationship or like just like losing somebody or something. It all relates to the same thing because it's the same feeling.
That's what I meant.
It's just the same feeling. So when you lose somebody, that heartache is just different. And even like when you're in love and you lose that person, you're like, damn, like you feel a certain way. Even like the breakup that you really thought was gonna work or something. But I just have that perspective that's just like, damn, like love is really weird. Like you love somebody and then the stuff. If anything happens, you lose somebody or it just didn't work out, and you're left with that, just like that thought. You're like, damn, and then that heartbreak, But it's powerful. How are you is it gonna break you or is it gonna make you? So that's what you decide. So yeah, it's just I agree with all you though. As I'm learning, I'm learning to read myself as well because as I'm thinking, I'm like, damn, like that's so true. Like we have to learn how to read ourselves as well. And reflection, like you said, who said that reflection is it you? Yeah, it's literally a reflection of learning yourself, the things you like about him, the things you don't like. Now you know what you like and you don't like.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. I also find something interesting, like besides the topic, like from here to 5 to 10 years, I don't know, next year, like we're gonna think differently again. It's like new things happen and this and that, right? So I can just imagine like me looking back to this video, it's like, damn, look how much I've changed and look at how I speak because I can't get some words through me right now. I'm working with like my public speaking as well, but just looking back, when I'm gonna look back to this video, I'm like, wow, it's just so different. But I agree with all of you in that aspect. It's a strong topic, just to talk about love and relationships. So
Definitely. Yeah. So it's basically the last question is, do each of us want have it as a requirement for our partner to be in the business with us, and if we were to be in a position where our partner wouldn't want to be in the business with us, like what actions will we take or how would we take that? You guys want to start or do you want me to start?
You can start if you want.
Sure.
So for me, it's not necessarily a requirement they have to be in the business with me. It depends on how you look at it. Like, for example, like I want a partner in business, so they do have to at least be like if I'm at an event, I'm getting an award, you're gonna be on stage next to me, right? Like it has to be like at least like that. I'm not saying it has to be like equal roles. That is preferred. I would prefer to build a business with somebody or share that the limelight. But they have to at least have something else going on within themselves to make some type of, they have to be striving for something as well.
Right.
So yes and no, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
At least with me on stage.
Also agree to her, she just has to be supportive. Honestly, the same thing. if she isn't supportive on the business and what I'm doing, and I'm sorry, that's something gonna bring me down, right? I need somebody on the same level, like you said, like the same mentality wise. How big do you want to go? What is your future looking like? I need her to understand. But as far as being in business, yes, I would like her to be my partner. It's like I see this other people that are so successful as partnering up with their significant other, and see how far they make it. If you know your partner, you can be a great, great teamwork. You can have like that teamwork, and you can make it really far. So I would love for her to be my business partner.
Well, obviously mine is with me.
Yes.
But honestly, so if I were to go back in the past, there was a point when I convinced myself that I didn't need him to be. So if you had asked me like maybe 2 years ago, I would have been like, no, they don't need to. But if I'm gonna be completely honest with you, if I wasn't with her and we weren't in this relationship, I don't think that I would be able. I think it is different considering, like the way we like to use the word like I'm a legacy here.
Mm-hmm.
This is different. This isn't just like something that I can build on the side and my wife like decides to build her own. This is my like something I'm inheriting.
Right.
This is so much more than just like like something I decided one day in my life. Somebody brought this opportunity to me, and out of nowhere I decided to change everything else I wanted for myself and said, you know what, let me do this and work towards this. This has been me and my goal and everything. This has been my entire life. So it's like, if anyone's gonna come, I have never had one relationship where I didn't say, this is something I wanted. Can you do this with me?
Mm-hmm.
Or well, technically I guess with her I didn't do that because I was scared. Because I'm obviously the trauma. But like, besides that, like, I always had said that was something I wanted. I was always something I wanted. So like, for me, this is like, if I wasn't with her and I had like, if I was single and I was looking for somebody else, it would have to be somebody who will do this with me. If they're not willing to and they don't want to, then I'm not. It just wouldn't work. This is my entire life. It just couldn't work.
Y'all have a big responsibility, but you're inheriting something. You're like, I have to. This is me. This is the legacy they're gonna like bring upon me. So I have to put myself in the best situation where I'm gonna be able to take up that responsibility.
Yeah.
So you got this though.
Mm-hmm. My goal is to birth RBPs. So birth SNSDs. So
yeah.
Yeah, for me, honestly, no. If I was single, I'm over thinking the way she answered it, like if I wasn't with her, okay, that's if I wasn't with her and I was in this business without her, obviously, I wouldn't require it to be. I would just want somebody to at least have a business of their own or something in that, like, within those lines, so then that way they can give me clients. So we just work back and forth,
Yeah,
something that would work hand in hand. I think
Yeah.
that would be a deal breaker if they didn't have anything and it was just like, so something that wouldn't also like not to be selfish, but also benefit me or help me, because it's like, okay, if you don't want to do the business with me, then you can at least help me with this, and if they didn't want to be, then I would just end it, because honestly that's somebody that I don't want around me, is somebody who doesn't support what I want to do.
Exactly.
And isn't on the same page as me. So yeah, but I have her, so
it works. We don't have to worry about the other stuff.
so we're good.
I can breed RVPs this way.
Yes, SNSD.
SNSD, sorry. Correction.
All right, and on that note, thank you so much for joining us today. Of course, we had so much to talk about with this spicy topic, but if you want more, like you always do, right, we'll see you next week.